I was just all these people are talking about how certain people shouldn't be allowed here, and you got the penitentiary system, jails, you got all these different systems to punish people for not dealing, living, cooperating, and even the people that claim to be cooperating with society. Some of them are oppressive against people, class or whatever, and so the best idea is to take the whole planet, rearrange it. We're going to have to reborderize the whole planet and all the countries. And we're going to have a worse place to live to the best place to live. The worst place to live, it'll be maybe the desert where everybody's pumping all their sewage there and they have these robots plowing in sewage into the desert. Well, the worst people will live there. And the only way to leave these, each country will be based on the betterment of society until you get to wherever the most perfect place to live is on the planet. Then that's where those people, the best people, can live. But all these different countries will be graded, and nobody can progress from the worst one. Everybody starts at the worst one. You have to take tests. You have to have standards that no class, race, nobody, ethnicity, uh, you know, nothing can escape going through these steps to get to the next country. You have to have tests. You have to have merit of societal non-conflict. You have to help society. You have to be non-burdensome, and each country is going to have these certain tests and certain level of citizen. Where you would be accomplishing and protecting. You can't be a litter bug. You can't be detrimental. You can't be burdensome. You can't litter. I mean, you have to live to get to the next. To get to this, you can't just jump from one. You can't just jump from the the worst place to the top place. Everybody has to go through these steps, and if you don't maintain the standards of the country you're in, this whatever they classify them as, say class 300 country is the worst and class 1 is the best. And so if you got out of class 300 to class 299, and then you can't uphold the standards, you just because you pass a test, it's like you becoming a doctor. Just because you become a doctor, you it's possibility in this society where you move from out of the worst country to the better. You have to maintain the standards to stay in that country. If you fall below the standards, you fall back. And you have to get to the next one, you have to take a test to prove that you're worthy of that country. The next, 200 country number 298. To get out of country number 299, you have to pass a test and live by and be already in country number 299. You have to already uphold country 298's expectations and standards before you can move there, and you have to maintain that standard and whatever polite citizen, whatever polite citizen, it just keeps going up. That way, you're not going to have these people, and when you have a child, you there's going to be a place you can't as you progress, being that you get married, that's going to be a whole different area. You're only married people can live. You can't have single people and married people living together. It's not practical because you have two different. It's almost two different classes. They're not married people are already gonna. There's already a 2-to-1 advantage. They're married. That's 2-to-1 against a single person. So you can't have that. That would be a conflict. So married people are not allowed. They can only have maybe two or three. They say it's hell anyway being married, so they can have maybe go up to class number 297 maybe, or country number 297. Where single people can work all the way up to country number 1. But hey, that's married people have already classified themselves as saying hell is marriage is hell. And if I had to post a Sam Kinison video, I'll do that. But that's how I think it should be. And you have to be to increase in this. You have to not education, because education you get into somebody who reads a freaking poem. So what? You can read a freaking poem, and if the poem, maybe somebody doesn't like your poem, and if there's any race conflicts, they're going to have to be another thing. All this stuff is going to have to be decided to where none of this is a conflict, and as you work up, you get to the top, and there's got to be no conflicts. Maybe there's 3 or 4 different ways to countrify it, and or just do it in your own country. You just divide it up into states. Well, I know it's already divided into states, but I'm saying just take everybody and move them out of there. They think it's communism. I'm not saying communism. I know this isn't going to happen. I'm just throwing it out there that everybody trying to live in a perfect society, and they think dealing with all these everybody. People gripe and moan about stuff, and then they'll go out and do something that aggravates somebody else, and it's just a long circle. It's just a circulation. It's like whatever. I don't know what it is. Tornado. Nobody likes tornadoes. If it gets real big, a hurricane. So no, the people, nobody should. This is how it should have been started, and then as you keep up standards, then you move to a better place. I mean, they think that's housing, but I wouldn't want to live around those people in those houses. They're very unfriendly. If you get up in a rich people, they're unfriendly. They're derogatory towards others. They think, well, they sit there and because you get it to the top level, there shouldn't be any people griping and moaning about somebody else not keeping up standards. None of that should happen. And the person griping is creating a conflict because they're griping and moaning. So they're going to have to drop down to where griping and moaning is allowed. And because this top country doesn't allow griping and moaning, it has to be perfect. So see, they're not perfect because they're griping and moaning. So they don't get to go to that top country. So anyway, I just thought I'd put that out there. There's a bunch of other stuff. I just quickly remembered it, and I'm just posting it now.